Dr. Thomas, what's your new book being called and what's it about?
It's a political economy of communications, the good, the bad and the ugly.
In India?
In India, yeah.
So what's it talking about?
Basically about the need for us to deal with structures and processes related to the media.
Yeah.
The fact remains that there are very few books, debates on these kinds of issues, whether it's media ownership, whether it's audiovisual trade, whether it's intellectual property rights, and also I think most importantly whether it's about resistance, because I think when you deal with issues from a political economy perspective, you can tend to be pretty depressive. You can become a depressive because it's all bad luck, bad luck stories and all the rest of it. Although there are also at the
but
same time.
But is there a challenge to the power of the mainstream media in India today?
Absolutely. At the same time, there's a lot of resistance in this country.
In what form?
In the sense, from the community radio movement to the FOSS movement to women in media work that's going on, citizen journalism, you name it. There's a lot of these kinds of activities. And I think what I've done in the book is to bring both together. The domination as well as the resistance.
Yeah, it's not very visible and it's not very quantifiable in that sense, the challenges, the resistance.
Absolutely. It's not quantifiable, but it's there.
Yeah, it's
it
very
is
scattered.
There. And it's there and you need to actually look for it.
Yeah.
But it's there.
What the mind does not know, the eye does not see.
Absolutely. And the other day I was with a good activist friend of mine, Geeta, who's telling me that she's been doing a lot of work with Islamic women's groups in the deep south, from Pudukkottai.
Okay.
And one of the things the women's groups are doing is actually, they're actually creating their own mosque. Women's mosque.
I see.
Women only mosque.
I see.
These are things that you don't get anywhere else in the world.
I see.
It's in that sense, I think there's a lot of creative things happening, and like your own project.
You've had a very long connection with alternative communications, right from the 80s or 70s, or starting with New International Information Order.
That's it.
And after that, what?
All sorts of, I think my background is political economy, and when I deal with resistance media, I take it back to that history all the time, because we shouldn't forget the history. The history, is old, is at least 30 years old.
Right from the 70s.
Right from the 70s.
When we were talking about global flows of information.
And Many Voices, One World, and those are the kinds of books that actually provided a platform for resistance.
Yeah.
And I think, and while there are all sorts of excellent activities today, I think we need to keep connecting to that history.
Yeah. And after that, you've also been studying religious fundamentalism in India.
I've been doing work on religious fundamentalism, and this really came about after I read an article by William Dalrymple. This was in 1999 in the Guardian Weekly or something, in which he just mentioned the fact that there were all these mission groups in Gujarat who were part of the problem. And then I did some work on how these mission groups were using the net, and how they were contesting with Hindutva and all the rest of it. And from then on, I did some work in Chennai on Christian broadcasting and its connections to Christian fundamentalism. And that was a very exciting project, very contentious, because but there are these groups.
It's problematic in that sense.
It's very problematic, but there are these groups, and I think we need to recognize the fact that they're there.
Yeah, and we're not willing to talk about them.
We're not willing. As Christian community, very, very problematic. They just don't want to handle, and the way I look at it is that, you've got to clean your stables before you point your fingers at others.
Right. So now where are you, Doctor, in Queensland?
I'm at the University of Queensland, where we have a Centre for Communication and Social Change.
Yeah.
And really what we do is we have a complete master's program in the subject. And really I play a role in teaching into some of these classes and doing research, etc.
What are the topics for the future that you're going to
Topics for the future? Oh, I think I'm getting tired. I've done, this is the third book on the line on communication rights, and after that I think I'll take a break and perhaps do something else like you do.
Thanks for your time and all the best.